Hello and welcome to Business 360. I'm Shireen Bhan. The headlines that we're tracking for you this evening. The bulls maintain the winning momentum on the Lal Street after a sluggish start. The Nifty moves closer to 21,500. Blue chips lead the charge. The Indian Navy deploys warships to the Arabian Sea after a drone attack on Israel-linked chemical tanker headed to India. This is the first attack on a vessel outside the Red Sea. The US claims Iran is behind the attack. Iran denies charges. Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu signals an expansion of the operations in Gaza even as he gets heckled by family members of those held hostage by Hamas. More than 20,500 Palestinians have died in Israeli strikes so far, as per the Hamas-run health ministry. Russia confirms one person has been killed and two injured after a Navy vessel was damaged in Crimea. A Ukrainian Air Force commander claims a Russian warship has been destroyed. Life insurance executives knock on the door of the regulator after a consultation paper proposes to increase the surrender value. Sources say life insurers want the regulator to extend the timeline to submit their views till the end of January 2024. That's an exclusive. A plane carrying 276 people lands in Mumbai after a 4-day detention in France over suspected human trafficking. French authorities confirm 27 individuals chose to remain on French soil and seek asylum. From the new Parliament building to the Ram Temple at Ayodhya, two unlisted companies from the Tata Group in the spotlight for building mega infra projects. A special report coming up. 69% of people with disabilities live in rural India without proper access to healthcare and education. But some organizations are hoping to change the narrative and help the underprivileged. A special report on our series Changing India. Well, as always, first up, the action from the Lal Street. The markets closing near their day's highs, led by heavyweights Reliance Industries, HDFC Bank and Kotak Mahindra Bank. Frontline indices ending the day about 0.5% higher. Mid-caps outperformed with the index closing close to 1% in the green. The Nifty PSE index was the big gainer, surging close to 2%. IT stocks, though, did underperform. That's the board for you. The Nifty up 90 points. The sensex putting on about 220. The Nifty Bank up 233 and the Nifty mid-cap gaining almost 300 points. Prashant is standing by now to take us through what we saw on the market today. The bulls coming back after an extended break, Prashant.
Well, out of a long weekend, 3-day weekend, the market really picked off where it left off on Friday and rallied on almost 100 points in the Nifty. Very strong day coming through again. The Nifty Bank, which was sulking, at least, in the first 1 hour or so, also picked up 0.5% gains in the Nifty Bank. Mid-caps did well. Small caps took a bit of a pause. Sectorally speaking, actually, except the IT services index and maybe the media sector, but the large one is IT services, everything else, apart from these two, everything was up. And the leader is still the public sector enterprises space, the PSUs, banks, and otherwise, they continue to march on. I'll get to stocks in just a bit. Large caps, which did very well. Divi's Laboratories was the top Nifty gainer. There was Hero MotoCorp, Adani Enterprises, NTPC, and Apollo Hospitals, which gained. On the downside, there was Bajaj Finance, which lost almost 2%. Bajaj Finserv was down 1.5%. And of course, these technology names, Infosys, TCS, Tech Mahindra, etc., which did not really participate. Broader markets, market breadth was positive. I mean, by a very wide margin in the first hour, that gap narrowed, but still comfortably more gainers than losers. Shipbuilders, right? Mazgaon Dock, Cochin Shipyard, Garden Reach, that pack. But not just shipbuilders, but defense names. Bharat Dynamics was another name. BEL participated very strongly. Chemicals, it's the one kind of sector which has not participated in 2023. Tata Chemicals, Aarti Industries, Balaji Amines, Alkyl Amines, and more. There was names like Castrol, Neyveli Lignite, Heritage Foods, All Cargo, Greaves Cotton, Tirumalai Chemicals, and so on and so forth. Some pullbacks as well. So IRDAI, which has, of course, gone up non-stop, is back at around the 100-ish levels. There's RBL Bank, which pulled back, Zomato, Manappuram Finance, PC Jewelers was a large cut, 10% or so. There was PVR Inox and Arman Financial, which saw a little bit of a cut as well. The market's gone up and we pretty much recouped all what we lost last Wednesday when the market fell pretty violently. It just turned out to be a one-day fall. We're not quite there at the all-time highs, but we're not very far away either. Global markets, they're still trading. US markets will have action, and we, I guess, will pick up on that and more when we return tomorrow morning.
Yes, we will. Prashant, many thanks for joining us and taking us through the market action of the day. Now, 3 IPOs listed on the Lal Street today. Moti Sons Jewellers making a stellar debut. The stock listed at nearly double its issue price to 55 rupees a share. The IPO of the Jaipur-based jewellery retailer was subscribed nearly 160 times, led by robust demand from qualified institutional buyers and high-net-worth individuals. Now, a tepid debut for microfinance institution Muthoot Microfinance, with shares listing at a discount of over 5% to the issue price. The stock debuted at over 275 rupees per share on the National Stock Exchange and 278 rupees on the Bombay Stock Exchange versus an offer price of 291 rupees per share. And we're not done with IPOs just yet. Suraj Estate Developers made a weak debut on the Lal Street. The stock listed at a discount of over 5% to its issue price, despite receiving decent demand for its IPO. The issue got subscribed nearly 16 times with heavy bidding from QIBs. The stock listed at 340 rupees a share on the NSE and nearly 344 rupees a share on the BSE against the issue price of 360 rupees a share. And speaking of proposed IPOs, electric two-wheeler startup Ola Electric has filed its DRHP and it's hoping to go public early next year. This is the first public offering by an auto company in the last 20 years and will be the first pure-play EV company to list on the Indian markets. The company is looking to raise 5,500 crore rupees via the IPO and it's eyeing a valuation of $7 billion. Founder Bhavish Aggarwal is looking to offload 3.48% stake in the company via this exercise. More corporate news. Reliance and Disney have entered into a non-binding agreement to merge their India operations. This as per reports. Now, the two conglomerates are said to be planning a complete merger by February next year. Manglam is standing by now with the details. Manglam, another big merger on the cards. What could it mean if it does go through?
Well, after a mega media consolidation that was announced in the earlier part of last week, there is a mega media merger which is likely. And if reports are to be believed, Reliance and Disney is, other companies where a deal is indeed in the works. Reliance and Disney have entered a non-binding agreement for the merger of the Indian ops of Disney, which is Disney plus Hotstar as well. And Reliance, as per those reports, will hold 51% of this merged entity, whereas Disney will hold about 49-odd%. And this deal is to be done via a combination of both shares and cash. This would, of course, indeed create a big media behemoth, more importantly in the digital world as well, where we've seen a lot of users cling to Jio cinemas as against Disney plus Hotstar, given the sort of content boutique that was there out as well. The reports do suggest that this deal is likely to be completed by Feb 2024. Now, while this deal is likely to be between Reliance as well as Disney, the question is, which of the listed entities of Reliance does this fall under? If it had to be any media, then one would guess it would be TV18 and Network 18 itself, and that's the reason why these shares are being bid up. Of course, with all the usual disclaimers that, these are companies that own the channel that you're currently watching.
Manglam, many thanks for joining us. And here's the big global story that we are tracking. The Indian Navy has now dispatched guided missile destroyers to the Arabian Sea after an attack on an Israel-linked chemical tanker off its coast. Now, this after the US claimed that the strike on MV Chem Pluto in the Indian Ocean was carried out by Iran. Now, this is the first time that a vessel has been attacked outside the Red Sea. Shipping giant Maersk has announced it is preparing to resume operations in the Red Sea and Gulf of Aden. Maersk has cited deployment of US-led military efforts towards ensuring safety of trade in the region as a reason for making the move. However, the company has also said it could explore diverting ship traffic depending on the safety conditions in the Red Sea. Attacks by Iran-backed forces have widened in the region, with the US claiming that 2 more vessels were attacked by Houthi forces overnight. This brings the number of commercial ships that have been attacked in the region to 15. However, Iranian foreign minister has denied any orders to the Houthis to carry out attacks and said that the regional security remains a priority for Iran.
We frankly told the US side that they made the decision according to their own position. We've never ordered them to do anything, neither will we order them to stop taking action. For us, regional security is very important. We are not seeking to expand the scope of war. The solution to the problem is not to establish a so-called coalition in the Red Sea, but to stop the bloodshed of women, children and civilians in the Gaza Strip and the West Bank.
And staying with that, as attacks by Yemen's Houthi rebels continue in the Red Sea, the risk of a spike in freight rates lingers on as global shipping companies reroute their vessels. Parikshit Luthra joins us now with the latest and more with India's reaction to the growing security situation in the Red Sea. Parikshit, what is the government's response? What is the view and the thinking at this point in time?
Well, the defense minister has reacted, saying that India takes this attack on MV Camp Pluto very, very seriously. 21 Indian crew were on board this Liberian flag carrier, and where it happened is a very critical place in global supply chains as well. So what Rajnath Singh has said, that we will identify the culprits of this and we will take this issue up diplomatically. Iran has denied any kind of responsibility in this drone attack. The government is holding negotiations, back-channel negotiations with a number of countries in the Middle East to reduce tensions in the Red Sea as much as possible. But everything boils down to this war between Israel and Hamas currently. So what is happening? The Indian Navy has carried out a preliminary assessment of the attack on MV Camp Pluto. They have confirmed that the analysis and forensic analysis shows that this was indeed a drone attack. They're now trying to understand the vector of the attack as well. So you've got guided missile destroyers like INS Mormugao, INS Kochi, INS Kolkata, which have been dispatched for maintaining security of merchant vessels in the Arabian Sea. There are exporters of basmati rice who are very concerned at this point because they feel that they will have to reroute, and the cost of containers, the insurance premiums will all go up. In fact, according to certain reports, the freight rates and insurance premiums for Indian exporters could go up by 20 to 25%. The Indian government also continues to watch this situation very closely. The External Affairs Minister, Subramaniam Jaishankar, is in Russia right now. While this is a review of strategic ties, it's quite obvious that what's happening in the Arabian Sea, in the Middle East, will also come up for discussion.
All right, Parikshit, many thanks for joining us. In fact, here's the Defence Minister Rajnath Singh commenting on the issue.
आजकल समुद्र में हलचल कुछ ज्यादा बढ़ गई है। भारत की बढ़ती आर्थिक और सामरिक ताकत ने कुछ ताकतों को ईर्ष्या और द्वेष से भर दिया है। अरब सागर में हाल में हुए यमवी चैंप प्लूटो पर ड्रोन हमले और कुछ पहले लाल सागर में यमवी साईं बाबा पर हुए हमले को भारत सरकार ने बहुत ही गंभीरता पूर्वक लिया है। भारतीय नौसेना ने समुद्र की निगरानी बढ़ा दी है। जिन्होंने भी इस हमले को अंजाम दिया है, उन्हें हम सागर तल से भी ढूंढ निकालेंगे और उनके खिलाफ कठोर कार्रवाई की जाएगी।
Well, that's the Defence Minister. At least 250 people have been killed and 500 injured over the past 24 hours in central Gaza as Israel mounts its offensive. Prime Minister Netanyahu, after returning from a trip to the enclave, said that this is a long fight and that the war is far from over. Netanyahu added that the military is intensifying its operations in Gaza. At a special session of parliament yesterday, Netanyahu was interrupted by shouts from family members of hostages held in Gaza. They were holding posters and signs displaying photos and names of their loved ones. A Russian Navy vessel was hit by Ukrainian missiles in an overnight attack on the Crimean port city of Feodosia. According to Russia's defense ministry, one person was killed, 2 injured as a result of the attack. Russia says Ukraine used guided missiles launched by aircraft to attack Feodosia. And back home, a CNBC-TV18 exclusive, life insurance companies have expressed concerns over the insurance regulator's proposal for higher surrender value. Sources say they've sought time till the end of January to submit their views on the plan. Yash joins us now with the details. Yash, industry clearly is concerned. We've been speaking with industry players who have said that this will have significant impact. So what's the situation now on what they are proposing to the regulator?
Well, Shireen, it was indeed a rude shock which came to the life insurance industry as far as this particular proposal on increasing surrender value is concerned. Now, what we've been given to understand from our sources is that certain life insurance companies, and I've been told that this includes the top life insurers, they have reached out to the insurance regulatory chairman, IRDAI chairman directly, seeking for an appointment for a meeting to discuss their concerns. As far as this particular proposal is concerned, we've discussed the concerns, we've reported the concerns which the life insurance industry feels. Also, what we've been given to understand is that the life insurance industry is expected to seek more time when it comes to submitting their feedback as far as this consultation paper on increasing surrender value is concerned. The set time currently from the insurance regulator is January 3rd. According to our sources, the industry is expected to seek time till January 31st when it comes to submitting their views on this paper. One very important point which also has emerged in our discussion with our sources is that the insurance regulator had fixed in its illustration spoken about a threshold limit which gets used in terms of calculation of the surrender value. What the life insurance companies were of the view that there should be a percentage of the total premium, but according to our sources, the insurance regulatory body is not in the favor of that. They think that this particular threshold limit for the calculation of surrender value should be essentially the expenses made by a life insurance company on that particular policy and a nominal charge over that, and after that the surrender value should be decided. It is assumed by a lot of analysts on the street that if a percentage is given, then that can be set by life insurance companies, which can reduce the pressure on life insurance companies in terms of paying that surrender value. But what IRDAI is saying, which is your expenses plus a nominal charge, will end up increasing the surrender value in that situation.
All right, appreciate you joining us, Yash. Now, the ownership battle at Hikal between Bharat Forge MD Baba Kalyani and his sister Sugandha Hiremath has come to an end. Baba Kalyani has lost his seat on the board after over 3 decades following a shareholder vote. Sonal Bhutra is standing by to take us through the latest on the decision by Hikal's board and what this now means as far as Baba Kalyani and the battle between him and his sister is concerned. Sonal.
Well, Baba Kalyani will not be continuing as the non-executive and non-independent director of Hikal Limited. This is as per a recent press release by the company. And remember, this comes in after him being on the board of directors for around 31 years. This was passed via a special resolution. So let's talk about the vote split. Around 52% of the shareholders, they were in favor of him continuing as board members, while 48% were against. Out of this 52%, 73% of Hikal's institutional investors and 57% of public shareholders, they sided with Baba Kalyani on being on the board of directors. But then what went wrong? It was a special resolution, and that is where you require around 75% of the votes in favor of the resolution for it to pass, but that did not go through, and that's why we will not see him continuing as a member of the board. Now remember, it is also said that outcome is influenced by Sugandha Hiremath's stake in the company, which is closer to around 35%, and she had been in the past asking or demanded Baba Kalyani to transfer his stake in the chemical company, which he holds via Kalyani Investment, which is around 31.36% stake in the company. BF Investments holds around 2.65% stake in the company, but the special resolution did not go through because of the higher stake that Hiremath family actually holds in the company, and this is the reason why the special resolution was against him being appointed as a non-executive and non-independent director in the company.
Sonal, many thanks for joining us. Now, the Tata Group has about 30 companies listed on the exchanges, but there are 2 unlisted companies from its stable that have shot to fame recently: Tata Projects and Tata Consulting Engineers. CNBC-TV18's Yusuf and Arundhati Ramanan put the spotlight on both the companies and their claim to recent fame. Take a look.
You probably recognize this building. It's India's spanking new hexagonal parliament building, boasting a built-up area of 2.24 lakh square feet. It was constructed at high speed from a groundbreaking ceremony in October 2020 to the laying of the foundation stone in December 2020 to the inauguration in May 2023. And this was spearheaded by Tata Projects. The then little-known company, which is involved in engineering, procurement and construction, outbid engineering giant L&T to win the project with a bid of 862 crore rupees, just around 3 crores less than L&T's bid. Before the Parliament project, Tata Project had completed over 30 construction projects across India, from Tata Electronics factory in Hosur to mega-scale data centers to Hiranandani Fortune City in Panvel and Noida International Airport. It is also involved in ongoing projects like the Mumbai Trans-Harbour Link Package 2, Pune Underground Metro Package 1 and Mumbai Underground Metro Line 3. In FY23, Tata Projects reported a 24% growth in revenues to 16,950 crore rupees. And even though it has reported losses in FY22 and FY23, the company is in the running for new orders worth close to 9,000 crore rupees, which would take its total order backlog above 48,000 crore rupees. So it's definitely a rising star in the Tata galaxy. The second Tata company that's been making waves is Tata Consulting Engineers, and the soon-to-be inaugurated Ram Temple at Ayodhya is a feather in its cap. While L&T has been tasked with the actual construction work of the Ram Mandir, Tata Consulting Engineers is the project management consultant. It clocked total revenues of 1,140 crore rupees in FY23, 27% higher than the previous year. It also reported its highest net profit in FY23, 150 crore rupees, and paid its parent company a dividend of 100 crore rupees. TCE is no Johnny-come-lately. It is engaged in various strategic projects with multiple central and state entities across the infrastructure, transportation, education, and energy sectors. The list includes the high-speed rail and CITCO, which are both in different phases of completion. As yet, these two companies, Tata Projects and TCE, may be smaller in stature compared to the Tata Group's larger and more visible entities like TCS and Tata Motors, but they've been steady contributors to the group's overall revenues of 9.6 lakh crore rupees in FY23 and are definitely companies to watch out for. In Mumbai, with Yusuf Kutte Parambil, Arundhati Ramanan.
Now, as per Census 2011, there are about 26.8 million persons with disabilities in India. That's over 2% of the total population. And remember, this is 2011 census that we're talking about. Things could be very, very different today. Around 69% of these differently abled people live in rural India without access to proper healthcare, education, or rehabilitation. But some organizations are working towards changing this. They are helping people with disabilities, especially those with an underprivileged background, find strength in their disabilities, discover and hone their skills, and help them live happy and independent lives. Shivani Bazaz gets us this special story on our series, Changing India.
This is a special facility run by the Association of People with Disability, or APD, in Bengaluru. But the children here are not just learning basic skills. They're learning life skills that will offer them means to support well into adulthood.
Many parents ask me only 3 questions. One is, when will my child talk? When will my child walk? And then after us, who?
Government data says that 20% of persons with disabilities report impairments in movement. 19% have trouble with their eyesight, 19% report some form of hearing disability, and 7% have speech impediments. Established in 1987, APD has touched and reformed the lives of 284,176 disabled people. APD's early intervention program focuses on rehabilitation of underprivileged children with disability. The program includes not just therapy, but skill enhancement modules.
Before I was in wheelchair, because of therapy, now I am in crutches. With therapy, I can become a normal child. I want to become a doctor, and I want to help with disability with people. I want to help them, and I want to treat them.
Shraddhanjali Integrated School, or SIS as it's often called, is a place with infectious positivity and can be counted as an example of truly inclusive education system. Children with speech and hearing impairments are taught in sign language, often by teachers who have the same disability. I'm the only one with hearing impairment in my family, and I was not born deaf. When I was 5 years old, I had a bout of high fever during a viral infection, and this resulted in hearing loss. My parents sent me to regular school, but I could not understand what was being taught, and my studies were greatly affected. It was then that my parents started searching for a special school, and they discovered the Sheila Kotawala Institute for the Deaf in Hal, Bengaluru. Once I joined the school, I was finally able to understand what the teachers were saying. I've completed my education in ITI and also 3 levels of Indian Sign Language. I started working as an Indian Sign Language teacher in APD back in 2015. The end goal, however, is not about giving patients a way to exist and earn, but to really live. Murthy Narayan Babu is testament to this vision. In 2015, at the age of 21, Naveen was working at a construction site in Kuwait when a wall fell on him. He has very little recollection of the event as he slipped into a coma for 3 months. Naveen's zeal combined with the treatment and therapy he has received has also helped him win multiple national level medals in archery.
The work that these organizations are doing is changing the lives of lakhs of people in India and giving hope to a section of society that is either ignored or abandoned. They're showing us how we can look at people's ability rather than judging them for their disability. And that is changing India in the true sense.
And you can catch the full episode of Changing India at 7:30 p.m. and 10 p.m. right here on CNBC-TV18. With that, it is time for us to wrap up this edition of Business 360. Stay tuned to CNBC-TV18. There's plenty more that's coming up. Don't go anywhere. We're back in a moment with more.
CNBC-TV18, embarking on a quarter century of excellence.